What is up, guys? How are you all doing? We are back with the Rewind Room, and right now we have something a little bit interesting. We have finished our very first season of Rewind Room. We have an entire 12 episodes spanning every single month from this year. It's wild to think that we are here now. And obviously, I could not do it without the help of my amazing co-host, Ramona Mejia. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for agreeing to do this podcast with me. And I can only just I can't even tell you the amount of gratitude I have that we're able to do this.
Oh man, I have heard so many great things from people in my life talking about how great it is, what it is we are doing. And
Yeah.
Rewind Room means so much to me, and it only means so much more that I get to do it with one of my best friends of all time, and we get to just have conversations about things that we love, and then things that we know, and then things that we're learning about. Oh man, 12 episodes, an entire year. How has time flown?
I'm trying to figure that one out myself. It feels like just yesterday we were having the conversation that we want to do a podcast. And we have talked about doing this for quite some time, let me tell you, folks. In fact, it's been so great to an effect that we actually have been talking about it ever since we reunited at the beginning of, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like
Um,
2023,
It
2024.
was around
Yeah.
2023, 2024. So,
Yeah.
real quick, I just want to share one of the most interesting things was we had been, me and Ramona had been friends since we were in college. And I know I mentioned this in our pilot episode, but the college years were a little up and down for the both of us because we were both going through our own lives. We were both having our own experiences that it was just more of kind of a tongue in cheek kind of thing, like where we would, meet up occasionally. We'd have class together. We talked for a bit, and that was really it. It wasn't really until we reconnected that we realized not only do we have so much in common, but we basically are almost kind of mirrors of one another if you think about it really.
Mm.
It's wild to kind of think of that in that regard. So I'm just so grateful that we're able to do this show now. And one of the things we talked about reconnecting was we should do like a video. We thought about a YouTube for a while. We had many conversations, and the next thing you know, we decided to settle on a podcast because podcasting is such an easy thing to do nowadays, and it's so widely available. And the thing is, we could reach a wider audience this way, you know? And we haven't, I don't know about you, Ramona, but I don't really see a whole lot of things about nostalgia or about retro things. I mean, I've seen some that are dedicated to like a certain era, like the 80s, the 90s, and even like the early 2000s, but I've never seen like an actual thing where people just sat down and talked about their past memories, you know?
Yeah, and I think we offer a pretty good balance because I have heard of a podcast or two where they do delve into their memories and how it relates to the theme of that episode.
Yeah.
But you can only you can I can only me personally I can only do so much with my own memories
Yep.
that I'm something that really draws me to this episode to this podcast, not only for creating it but also listening. I'm also a listener of this podcast. I enjoy listening to this podcast
Yeah.
on my own, and that's because not only do we put in and insert pieces of ourselves and of our memories and of our lives, but we also try to educate people in we educate people on time periods and products and movies and music and themes and subject matter that was either relevant of a time or nostalgic for a certain reason, and then we also insert ourselves into that so that it's you get the best of both worlds. You feel like you're leaving with more information than you did coming in, but you also leave with knowing a little bit more about us too. And
Yeah.
I find out things every day from my friend John, just as he does about me,
100%.
because at the end of the day, this is just an ongoing conversation about things that we already enjoy or that we are learning to enjoy. And
Yeah.
what an easier task is it to talk with somebody you are familiar with about something that you're familiar with and then sharing that with listeners and viewers,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day we all have this collective experience that isn't the same, but overlaps in many ways. And how beautiful is it for us to connect with people? And I heard this recently. We're connecting with people from different parts of the world, even. And how crazy is I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be doing a podcast with my friend, connecting with somebody from a country I've never even been to.
It's wild. I mean, to think the fact that we have people that are out of the country that listen to us, and that enjoy us. And I say this with absolute respect, but even if you speak a different language, the fact that you listen to our podcast means the world to us.
Absolutely.
And even if you can or can't understand everything, I don't know if our podcasts get dubbed anywhere. To be honest with you, I don't know how that process works, but it would be nice to maybe one day get certain versions of that, even if it's just
Yeah.
an auto dub, or have like subtitles for those so then they can actually really enjoy. And I got one message from one person overseas, I believe they're in the UK, who said that they really liked hearing about American culture through that and how America evolved through that and how we as Americans experienced that, whether it be firsthand or through people like our parents, and
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing what we're doing
Yeah.
with this podcast. And like you said, and I know you've told me this many times too, but Rewind Room has also helped me personally as well, just being able to
Yeah.
sit down and talk with somebody about something I that we have a shared interest in really does
Hmm.
wonders for my mental health and
Yeah.
wonders for who I am as a person. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know where I'd be without this podcast if I'm being 1,000% honest.
We are definitely people that relish the past, and we find comfort in certain areas of the past and certain things like TV shows, movies, experiences. And the fact that we are able to share that with other people who probably also have the same connection that we do with their own past is a beautiful thing, because yes, presently, life just passes you, and you can lose sight of things, and life could just be beating you down, or something
Yeah.
something's going on, whether it's in your family and life, at your job, whatever. But to be able to sit down and listen to a conversation that we're having about something that we're very passionate about, I can only assume that obviously it's helping us in our mental health. But I hope that we also act as a familiar but also innocent distraction to you and your life, because we recognize, that our experiences are our own experiences, but we also want to have a time and place for us to share that sentiment, that we are technically like a family. The Rewind Room family is a thing.
100% it is. I don't know where I'd be without Rewind Room, and without all the amazing work that we both do here, and the fact of the matter that we get to just come in, have a conversation, and basically, pardon my French, shoot the shit basically
Yeah.
with each other, and we get to share that with the entire world basically. And I think
Yeah.
that's incredible. Throughout this year we've talked about many many different topics that we've been
Yeah.
passionate about, obviously ranging from things such as some of our favorite TV shows, some of our favorite movies, things we love, ranging all the way now to things like department stores and malls, things that we experienced from our youth, and video games that we grew up playing, movie theater experiences, and it's wild to think about just how each one of those has formed kind of the people we are, and the thing is I love too is obviously there's only one way you can go in life, and that's forward, and things evolve, things change, but the beautiful thing about nostalgia and about retro things is that they're always there in some way, shape, or form. It's you, the person, that keeps it alive, because it's that burning love or instinct for something from either your past or something you wish you had from your past that you bring into your future. And with that, it also allows us to grow as human beings as well, and allows us to grow into adults and to keep progressing forward while also still holding on to that little bit of the past that we choose to hold on to,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I think that's just so wonderful. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments from this year was the episode we did on um what was I gonna say on malls and department stores. I thought that was really cool getting to
Oh
relive a
yeah.
lot of those memories from when we both were young, and it's crazy to hear how we had different experiences too, like we obviously had
Hmm.
stores like J.C. Penney, we all had stores like, Dillard's, Macy's maybe, but we also had different stores like you had Mervyn's. I never experienced
Yeah.
Mervyn's.
Yeah.
Obviously, and we had different experiences with that. So I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I can't even say the amount of gratitude um and the amount of happiness I get from that.
Yeah. And on a similar note, I learned so much about how different video stores are from different regions of the country to even your own state. Like the fact that you had so many, if not a couple or like more than me around me, mom and pop video stores, like that is awesome. And then we're able to not only talk about it, we're able to like reminisce and like
Oh yeah.
connect with our childhoods. And then like people in our families or people who know us are able to sort of relive their own experiences because they're
Yeah.
familiar with the same places that we are. Because they either grew up in the same city or state or they grew up with us or whatever, they're able to also relive that said past vicariously through our words and through our own memories.
Hmm.
And so many people for only remember the things that they don't want to remember, ironically.
Yeah.
But how beautiful is it for us to remember things that we want to relive and that we want to think about? And it helping my own mental health is fantastic because it's also rewiring my brain to appreciate the past more and to appreciate the little things. Even presently, today is going to be the past at one point in the future,
Yeah.
and it's allowing me to recenter my focus on appreciating the little things, whether it's that TV show that I'm currently watching or that DVD that I'm about to buy or whatever. It really it really gave me perspective that at 27, 28, I didn't realize I needed when we first started the podcast.
Yeah, and I think I didn't realize that either, until we started doing it because, it's one of those things that, I just thought, oh, this would be a fun thing. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is actually helping me, in a certain
Yeah.
way and point. And it's really, I really actually kind of had a new appreciation for my past as well, because I think
Yeah.
when I think about it, I just think, oh, I was a kid, I was doing all these things, but you realize, you're only a kid once, you don't get to relive that part of your life again. And the fact
Yeah.
that we have this, it's almost like a preservation of our memories and the things we love. So
Well said.
one day we look back at this, we're going to be like, wow, I remember that because it's really preserving the past is what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
preserving not only the past but our personal memories, and I think that that's just wonderful.
And we're also, in a way, and unknowingly right now, because neither of us, are married with kids, but
Yeah.
we're preserving it so that the future generation, our future generation,
Yeah.
has that link to the past that we had so that they can also experience the benefits of what we experienced as kids. Like
Hmm.
I express and have expressed that if I were to ever have children, I would want them to at least not grow up on, but at least be familiar with the shows that I grew up on.
Yeah,
That way they have
100%.
an idea as to who I was as a kid. And also we can connect in that way because how great would it be to, sit, and I'm sure your parents felt this,
Yeah.
sitting your kid down and then seeing them live their life but also connected to your life, either a show or music or mall experience, whatever it
Yeah.
is. It's a way to connect with different generations, and that's something I'm very hopeful for because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people uh, don't have something to share with their children. They don't, at least they don't think they do.
Exactly. And one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to go off tangent here a little bit, is we have a listener who was actually one of our old professors from when we were in college. His name is Paul Helford. Got to give him a shout out.
Paul.
I got to say, Ramona, when I talked to him last, he told me you cracked him up when we were talking about the movie theater experience and you likened something to like men's toilets. I can't remember the ideology you made, but You said something to that effect, and he
The
absolutely
urinal.
lost it.
It's
The
the urinal
urinal,
rule.
yes, 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 yes. The urinal
Yeah.
rule, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He said that was his favorite moment from the show, and I have to admit that was probably mine as well because it came so out of left field, and I'm trying to keep with it, and I'm like, wait, where are you going with this?
Well, what's funny about it is that I'm not even a man, so I'm thinking of a rule that doesn't even relate to me at all. How funny! But
Fair
I
enough,
would have
but
assumed when for those of you who don't know what we're talking about is we were talking about theater etiquette and if it's
yes, we
rude
were
to
talking about
sit
theater
next.
etiquette.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. We were talking about if it was rude to sit next to somebody in an empty theater. And I brought up, this analogy that would, for lack of a better word, was using toilet language. And I said, I wonder if it's the same, or something along those lines. I said, I wonder if it's the same urinal etiquette, if you have an empty row of urinals and, someone's doing their business to go stand next to them and do your own, personal space and whatnot. But I can see how that can be very funny. Obviously, since I'm the one that said it, I'm sure had you said it, I'd be cracking up
Well,
on the
here's the
floor.
thing. I'm a man and I was still trying to figure out where not only you were going with this, I don't even know where I would have went with that, to be honest with
Oh
you. I don't
man,
even
that's
know if
too
I would have
funny.
thought about that, to be honest with you.
Oh
Maybe
man.
it's just a guy thing, but yeah, it just that's one of the things. But no, it was so hilarious and it was so funny, but not even just for that. It was just a funny comment, I thought, and
Yeah.
it's little moments like those that I think make this podcast special. For those of you who don't know, and I hope you're okay with me saying this, but both me and Ramona are both neurodivergent, and we both do a podcast, and the one thing about us as people too is the fact that and right now I'm going to speak for myself, but reminiscing on the past has really been something that has helped me, not just with my mental health, but has helped me with some of the things I struggle with my neurodiversity as well as being on the autism spectrum. And one of my special interests for sure, and this is nostalgia and the past, and the fact that I have another person who's just as passionate about it with me on this ride is amazing. And
Oh
I do
yeah.
thank you for that for sure.
We hit the lottery for that one, that's for sure. Because I mean, a lot of people have this idea that the past is meant to stay in the past, and I mean, I get it. I get the sentiment. Sometimes people don't want to delve in the past, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's all well and dandy. But to find somebody that not only likes the stuff that you like, but also likes that we can, reminisce about the past and the stuff that we used to like is fantastic. Like we're not dedicated to a specific time period, and we're not dedicated to a specific present time. So we transcend time. The topics that we talk about and discuss transcends time, and that like to boil it down, that's how I see our friendship, you know.
Yes,
And
100%.
you guys as viewers, you guys are also our friends, because even though this is like a one-way conversation between John and I, we hope that it sparks conversation between you and your friends, or you and
Yes.
whoever else you're listening to, or you and your parents or whatever. Because at the end of the day, our podcast is a means of discourse. And whether that's, you agreeing with us, you not agreeing with us, you having the same experience, or you not having the same experience, it's still a means of safe discussion that we want to put out there. And how
Yeah.
great is it to hear that you have two people that have felt in the past either outcasted or whatever by either society, people around us, whatever, to find an outlet for us to be able to share the things that make us happy. I'm just so blessed. I'm just so blessed.
1000%. I am too. I'm extremely blessed, and I think it's amazing to think that, we can do this and we have something that is ours, but yet at the same time can be yours. Because as much as
Absolutely.
it's about us and as much as it's about, our past and everything, we do want it to be yours, and we do hope it'll inspire conversation between you, your friends, your family, about just kind of reminiscing about some of not just the old days, but just reminiscing about things you love, things that are important to you, and sometimes that little bit of dialogue can form amazing things. You'd be surprised, and such. But looking forward, we are confirming right now there will be a season two.
Let's
There is no
go.
way that we are going to leave you guys on the cliffhanger and be like, yeah, this was fun. But yeah, no.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. No,
Bye.
we no. Exactly, but no. Thankfully, we are able to we are blessed. We are going to be getting a season 2. And excuse me, right now we don't know exactly what is going to be the first episode, but when we know, y'all will know for sure. But we will be starting again in January with new episodes of Rewind Room. In fact, we talked about some possibilities of what could be in there, and obviously some of the ones we kind of landed on were one of the ones we really want to talk about at some point is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. We grew up with that trilogy. That's one of our favorite film series, so we definitely want to try and get that in the upcoming year. Another one is the PBS show Arthur. We talk about Arthur so much, but we want Arthur to get his own episode specifically just about the aardvark, the bunny, his parents, his family, his friends, and more importantly, our relationship with Arthur. So be on the lookout. That could be a possible one this year. We also want to try and delve more into some movies because we noticed that one of the things this year is we did talk a lot about movies and we talked a lot about movie going experience, but we want to actually get into some of our favorite movies as well. And so one of the ones we really want to try and talk about at some point, I know a lot of you are probably going to start rolling your eyes when you hear this, but is Citizen Kane.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Let's go.
Yep, exactly. That's how you can tell that we're both film nerds is the fact that we both love and appreciate Citizen Kane.
And not
Citizen
for the
Kane.
cliche reasons of needing to because you graduate from
No,
XYZ school, but because it's genuinely a freaking amazing film
it's an
made
incredible
by a
movie.
freaking intelligent genius creative.
And I'll say this: I think the majority of AFI's top 5 make my all-time favorites as well.
Mm,
The
mm.
majority of them, because obviously Godfather is actually my all-time
Let's
favorite movie
go.
of all time. Sorry, Citizen Kane, as much as I love you, Godfather does take that spot. But there's a lot of movies we'd like to talk about going forward. Another one we're thinking about maybe around the Halloween season. Speaking of Orson Welles and Citizen Kane, is his infamous War of the Worlds broadcast that he did in 1938. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying that, oh, the panic was probably not as widespread and all this kind of stuff, but it's still a significant event in history. So it's something we want to cover. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, wow, you guys are that old. You were born in 1938. No, genius.
We were
We're
born in 1928. Come on.
Yeah, come on, folks. But basically, the main reason we bring up the War of the Worlds is because it's a significant event for us. And keep in mind with Rewind Room, not everything is going to be oh we lived, etc. It's going to be things we experienced as well, and we're going to talk about it from our own point of view of how we see it all these years later as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, but those are just some of the teases for next year possibly that you could be seeing very much here on Rewind Room. But anyhow. I think to close out this year, my friend, it's only right that we say one thing to the people, and we just want to say, and I just want to say thank you all very much for listening to Rewind Room this whole year. We were so privileged and happy to be able to do this, and we look forward only to what next year holds.
Cheers to you guys for following us along on this amazing ride. Here I am, such a privileged position to be with my best friend talking about amazing freaking things. And I'm so happy that you guys get to join along either in the conversation or just as listeners. And then we hope that the same love that you guys brought to us this year, you guys bring back to us in 2026 because we're going to come back with even bigger and better uh, themes and equipment and this and that. We're growing, and
Yep,
we hope that the Rewind Room family continues to grow with us, because regardless of
absolutely.
even if we only have one listener, we're still going to be doing this because it's what
Absolutely.
we love.
Yep, absolutely. And real quick before I round us out, I just want to give a massive thank you to my co-host Ramona. I could not have picked a better co-host, and I don't think you could have either. I hope.
Nope.
I hope. But
Nope.
I just want to say thank you for going along on this journey with me and for being willing to one put up with my uneasy times at times, but moreover, in all seriousness, you're easily one of my best friends. We talk all the time, even outside of the episode, and the fact of the matter that this is something we can both have is just amazing. And I love you, my friend. You're awesome. And I can't even find the words to say thank you, but thank you.
Oh, my friend, freaking ditto. I love
Thank
you. I
you.
love what we talk about. I love the perspective you give. I love how you educate me in many ways. And I love that this friendship is just one that just continues to grow, not only because we work at it, but because we're sort of forced to when it comes to this podcast, and force is a bad word, but we put ourselves in a position to where we have to continue fostering this friendship. I know as adults, many of you listeners can probably relate to this, that keeping and making friends as an adult is really hard, especially if you are
Yeah.
either on the spectrum, or say you're a busybody, or
Mhm.
say you're just, you just don't really care to. It's hard to create relationships and
Yeah,
friendships and whatnot. And I'm just very blessed to have you in my life. And I'm very blessed to have a common goal. And that common goal is Rewind Room, because
yeah,
it forces me to get out of my comfort zone. It forces me to not be complacent. And it forces me to continue to expand my mind. And there's no way that I can ever thank you for it. But maybe one day we'll earn an award and we can party after, or something like that. Who knows?
for sure. It will be a dry party though, at least for me, but
Oh yeah.
we'll
Oh
have
yeah.
fun.
Party. I mean like Arthur, some
Oh,
loudspeakers,
okay.
some fruit punch, some
Some
woogles,
pizza.
some cheesy pizza,
Ah,
some chocolate
why
cake.
did I have to say pizza? I'm hungry now. It's so bad.
Well, it's way
Neither
past breakfast, so we got to get some lunch.
we got to get some lunch. But anyways, folks, thank you for joining us, and for the last time in 2025, my name is John,
And I'm Ramona.
and we will see you in 2026, and we will catch you on the rewind. And that's a wrap.
Let's
Oh, let's
go.
go.
That was
Yes.
fantastic, my friend. That was fantastic.